Hey there everybody, my name's Rick Utzer here with AirgunWeb, your home for old school airgun reviews where we tell you the facts, not fluff. Today we're going to get back to really my roots, which is the good old brake barrel airgun line of stuff. This is the Gamo bone collector. This is the Gen 2 Swarm version. This thing's got some neat tricks up its sleeve. Let me tell you all about it. So before we get started, definitely want to say thank you to Gamo USA for sponsoring AirgunWeb and these videos. I'm going to put all the links to the gun and everything you need to know in the video description, so be sure to check that out. But you can go to www.gamousa.com to learn more about this gun. Now, Gamo's been building airguns for a very long time. We're talking decades upon decades upon decades, and they build one mean brake barrel. This is an example of why they keep just topping the charts on the number of brake barrels sold in the US. This gun just checks a lot of boxes. Okay, first of all, it's built very, very well. When you cock it, when you shoot it, it feels like a real quality gun. It doesn't feel cheap, doesn't feel like stuff's rattling off of it. It has a really good, shooting experience with this product. I do love the stock. I love a nice chunky wood stock, and they've definitely delivered a very nice aesthetic here. Really, really nice. Nice to hold. It feels good. It definitely adds to the value on the gun. Now, the bone collector's been around for a while. The original bone collector, gosh, years ago, we have an old video on AirgunWeb TV of us hunting. I'm out hunting prairie dogs with the doggone thing, and didn't have the swarm system. It was just single shot. It was a lot of fun. Very effective, very great little air gun. Then they put the swarm on it, which obviously I love the swarm system. It's a multi-shot brake barrel. Yeah, what's not to love about that? Now with the Gen 2, they've got the new Gen 2 swarm system, but that's not all they've done, okay? So they've changed some other things too. The biggest thing I noticed right when we got this out at the Airgun Expo was it feels chunkier. It feels more substantial, it feels thicker. And that's exactly what it is. What they've done is they've increased the size of the compression chamber. Now, why would you do that? Well, with brake barrel air guns, there's only a couple ways you're gonna make more power, okay? So you can put a more powerful spring that throws the piston forward more quickly, but if you don't have more volume, that doesn't really deliver. Now you can make the gun longer and make the tube longer, giving you more volume, but that makes the gun that much longer. So the other option you have is actually to increase the diameter of the compression chamber, which gives you more volume. Now the beauty of that is that you can actually just change the piston seal. You can probably keep the same gas ram. You're really not needing to have more cocking force or more velocity in the ram itself, but with that additional volume, you're able to get more power. Now, how much more power? We gained about 100 feet per second off the standard Maxim. This one sits right at 750-ish. Now, I've got crony numbers for the Red Fires, the Rockets, and the PBA Platinum. So let's just talk about that for a minute, because for me, that was like key. To get the power up over 750 feet per second, really, with actually kind of a mid-weight lead pellet, that's very, very good in a gun that doesn't have the long magnum profile. So you don't have the heavy cocking force, you don't have the super long gun. It's a regular sized, length with a reasonable cocking force. Looking at the Red Fires, which for me really are probably what I would shoot in this gun. Now I just stuck with Gamo Ammo for this video, but I may send this to Angie and say, Angie, why don't you run through a bunch of ammo and let her do the ammo testing? I don't know yet. I'm sure she'd probably love to do that. So now that I've said it, I probably have to do it. Anyway, I just stuck with the Gamo Ammo today. So the Red Fires, let's see, our average, let me cancel out of here. Our average was 748 feet per second. I mean, we topped out at 751, which is that 19.28 foot-pounds. So It's just over 19. I thought it was more like 20. We actually broke 20, but that was the different pellet. I'll get that in a minute. But we're sitting right at 19 and some change with this, which is frankly impressive. And a brake barrel of this size, without being a super ultra magnum, to deliver that kind of consistent power is pretty awesome. The consistency was very good. 15 foot per second spread, standard deviation of only 4 feet per second. So that is pretty decent. If we move over to the rockets, they were less, they weigh less, generated less power, which is kind of odd. So it tells me maybe the gun just doesn't like them in the barrel. I don't know, but I'll give you the numbers anyway. 26 foot per second spread, standard deviation of 8, so not nearly as consistent, and they averaged 730 feet per second. So we're talking basically 17-ish foot-pounds. So this is another reason I really like the red fires. More consistent, they're more accurate too. More consistent, more accurate, and they gave me more power. Now, the surprise for me is I have some, and I don't even know if you can get these anymore, but I had them. So I thought I'd run the PBA Platinums. They're 9.7 grains. They're like super light. But let me give you these numbers because they were impressive. Okay, so these average was 990 feet per second. Yeah, they were absolutely smoking. Extreme spread was only 15 feet per second. This is across 10 shots on all of these. Standard deviation was 5. So these actually topped out at 21 and some change. So the best I got was 998 feet per second at 21.45 foot-pounds with the Platinum PBAs. I wish I could say they were accurate. They were not. Too bad. But they definitely were fast and they delivered the most power. I did my actually testing today at 20 yards. First of all, let's be realistic. Brake barrels, I love them, okay? But for a lot of people, they're super challenging to see consistent accuracy. The reason is that they can be tricky to shoot. They move around a lot. When you're shooting these, there's a double recoil. So, and I've talked a lot about this. So if you've heard it before, I apologize. But if you're new to the sport, you're not going to know this. So you're going to go grab this gun wherever you buy it, and you're going to put it, buy it at GamoUSA.com. You're going to grab this gun, you're going to buy it, you're going to put it on a rest or vise, and you're just going to be all over the place, and it's going to be very frustrating. If you watch me shooting, I'm shooting off a bag, but I have my hand under the gun. So when I'm shooting this, I'm actually cradling the gun, and I use something to kind of index my offhand to go back to the same place every time, so that if I slide this up or down the forestock, it's going to change how this gun moves. And I don't want it. But basically what that means is that you're going to have a vertical string and you're not going to be consistent. So when I'm shooting a brake barrel, I use a bag, try to get really comfortable, and then I probably need to shoot several hundred rounds, days before I actually film it, because it takes a while for me to learn the gun and get comfortable with it. And I had the time to do that with this, which was really cool. So I shot, for accuracy tests, I shot both the red fires and I shot the rockets. And realistically, these guys at 20 yards, they just did great. Now, there were some variations. I mean, some of them stacked very, very tightly, and some of them wandered a bit. That goes to the consistency of the shooter. The reason I like brake barrels is they make you shoot better. They make you really focus on your technique and your follow through and your trigger control and mitigating recoil and all of those things that could be very beneficial when you transition to firearms or other guns. If you can get where you can shoot something like this consistently, it's going to make you a better shooter. It's why I like it. It's very challenging to me to be able to sit down at 20 yards and get dime size groups or nickel size groups. Now, once you get that, then you can start stepping it out to 30 yards, and I would probably top out at about 35 yards for like precision accuracy shooting at that point, because it does become really tough beyond that. This gun is really ideal for the backyard pesting, ground squirrels, rabbits, chipmunks, that kind of stuff. Inside 30 yards, this thing should really get the job done very, very well. Now, one of the things that makes it so special, and Gamo, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't shot every example of them out there, but I've shot several. Gamo does this better than any other airgun company I know of, and that is the multi-shot brake barrel system, okay? So traditional brake barrels, you cock it, grab a pellet out of your pocket or whatever, put it in the breech, close it, and take your shot. And then you repeat that as necessary. Well, that's fine. And I mean, still do that. I have guns that aren't multi-shot. But if I'm running a gun and I've done the Squirrel Master Classic, which is an absolute hoot, boy, it really helps to not have to fumble a pellet and shove it in the breech. That's where the 10-shot magazine comes in. Now, these magazines are fairly affordable. Again, you can check them out at GamoUSA.com. They just snap in, and now you've got 10 shots on tap. To load it, it's very, very simple. You're just going to take a pellet. I don't want to knock the gun over. You push it in and just rotate it with your finger and drop another one in. And you have 10 pellets. So it's a 10-shot magazine. You can buy extra mags, load them up before you go out hunting. And then when you need more pellets, just reach into your pocket, grab the next magazine, and you're up and running again. Let me show you how this works, because this is really an ingenious thing they've developed. It's very, very awesome. Okay, so if you notice here, this is sitting flat. So obviously that's not going to load a pellet. When the pellet's facing this way, it needs to face that way. So when you crack this barrel, okay, if you notice that magazine rotates, and there's a little pellet pusher that pushes and seats the pellet. And when you close it, it goes back down. Now, I should have had that on safety and I didn't, but it is a manual safety. I'll take it off safe and I'll go ahead and take my shot here. All right, let's talk about just a couple other numbers and then we can go ahead and wrap this up. Now, trigger pull on this, boy, back in the day, and I'm talking going back 15 years or so, everybody wanted to replace these triggers. Man, Gamo has done a great job at delivering a very solid trigger. Would I like the second stage to be a little shorter? Yes. Can I adjust it? No, it's pretty much what it is. But the pull is great. It's only like 1 pound, 4 ounces or so. I took a picture of the Lyman gauge here. Let me just pull it up and give you the right, exact, perfect number here. Okay. Okay, I'll take that back. 1 pound, 7.8 ounces. So basically 1.5 pound trigger pull is very, very good for a sporting rifle. And here's the thing, it's very, very smooth, very predictable. So there's no crunch in it. There's no ambiguity in the trigger. It's very, very consistent. I absolutely love the trigger, what they've done on these. I wish I could take a little of the second stage out, but frankly, I'm very pleased with how this trigger has evolved to where we are now. The next thing is noise. People want a really quiet air gun. Well, I will tell you, and you're not going to hear it on camera, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go ahead and cock this, and I'll take my shot here. All right. By the way, I just hit a 50-yard plate, just free holding. So I really do like this gun. All right. So any noise you heard is all mechanical. So I did 2 dB tests right next to the gun. I'm about 4.5, 5 feet away. And we registered, let me just get the number so I don't screw them up, 99.5 dB. Now, that sounds like, oh, Rick, that's very loud. Well, it's right next to it and it's about like that. It's really not as loud as you think because it's so fast. The noise is like that. Now, I did take the meter out to where we were shooting at 20 yards. Now, like no shot noise. The wind was as loud as the shot. We're at 75.6 dB. Okay, so it was a little louder than the wind. But the point being that it went from 99 and some change to 20 yards, 75.6 dB. So there's no shot noise. Once you get away from the gun, the mechanical noise just bleeds off very, very quickly. They've done a very good job with the shrouded, and I know they've got something going in here that quiets any sort of shot noise down. And really, realistically, the mechanical noise isn't bad either. To be under 100 dB right by the gun, I mean, the mic pointing at the gun is actually very, very good. So this is a great backyard-friendly shooter. It's definitely a great gun. I am very pleased with the changes they've made with the addition of these. They've got some sort of vibration dampening, and forgive me for not knowing their nomenclature on all of this stuff. I should have done my research on that. But realistically, whatever they've done, they've got this bedded into this stock in such a way where it just seems to reduce the felt sort of shudder that you get, or recoil that you feel in a typical brake barrel. It just is much nicer. I wish I had the engineering terms to describe it to you. All I can say is that from Gen 1 to Gen 2 on the Bone Collector Swarm, this one definitely is an improvement in the shooting cycle, in the shooting experience. It's got more power, has got great range, got very good accuracy, just a very, very good gun. For all of my tests, I'm running the stock Gamo scope. This is a 3-9x40. It's just a duplex scope. It does not have an adjustable objective, but I will say that at 20 yards, I could zoom in probably to about 8. And if I went to 9, it might start to get a little bit fuzzy. But they've parallaxed this for airgunners, so it's not parallaxed to 100 or whatever. It actually works pretty well. Personally, if I were to hunt or use this gun a lot, I probably would switch the scope out for something with mil dots so that I could have range estimation for hunting game at different ranges. But if you're target shooting in the backyard, this whole package as it sits is just a great option. Stock up on those Gamo Red Fires because they really, really shoot well. Guys, that's going to be it. If you have any questions, definitely just reach out to Gamo. You can check them out, www.gamousa.com. You can also reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'll do the best I can to see comments and questions and answer them. Sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. I'll do the best I can in the midst. So, guys, that's going to be it for now. My name is Rick Utzer here with AirgunWeb, your home for old school airgun reviews, and where we tell you the facts, not fluff. Thanks for watching.